So now we'll go over a shipping form overview for the shipping tool. So the most important thing I'd like to highlight in this part of the demo is that the asset and shipping tools do not auto update each other. So there are some integrations. You can generate a shipping form from the assets tool, and you can pull assets into a shipping form from the assets tool. But if you put something in a shipping form and you go ahead and put it in shipped status, it's not going to reach back into the asset tool and update the assets that are in the shipping form and put them in ship to site status. So that's one of the most critical things to remember. There's some integration, but they don't speak to each other yet. Hopefully down the road that will be a reality, but not yet. So I provided a link to the shipping form in the slide for future reference. This is just kind of general overview. One thing I wanted to highlight here is you can go back and search for past shipments. The system just auto checks all of these status types, but if you need to look for a form that's already been closed, you do need to manually check that. So it auto checks all of these for you, but that last one, you need to check that if you're searching for something that's been closed out. You can use the expanded fields here to put in stuff like your shipping ID if you know it, put in your origin and destination, and then submit your search, and you'll be able to find past shipments for reference. Okay, and then moving on, within the form, you select your shipment status. So if you have something and it's already on its way, don't worry, it's not too late to submit a form. Just go ahead and use this status that's already shipped and in transit and put the ship date in here. It's important to figure out that your origin and destination locations are already in the shipping tool for you to select. I'll show you that in a minute. There's a way to submit a request for a location to be added to the database. And then this is pretty basic. You just walk through, fill in your information within the form as it comes up. It's pretty simple to figure out this first part of the form. Anything that you can add here as for content description, how many boxes there are, the purpose of the shipment. Once again, if you have reference information like an AFC number, an RMA number, a PO number, that's absolutely awesome. This is a comment section to alert staff on the other side of any special things that you need to let them know. If they're going to need a crane to offload your shipment, or a telehandler or something like that, this is a great place to let them know. A phone call also would be absolutely great if people on the other end don't know what's coming their way exactly. But you can add other notes here. And then I think one of my favorite things about the form is at the top of the form, and I forgot to show you this on this other part of the form. Actually, maybe we'll see it in a minute here. You can add additional emails here to the form. So if you have an ARM person, anyone with an active ARM account is going to show up for selection here, and you can add them to the shipping form for reference. On i.arm.gov, there's a people tile. And so if you don't know someone's email address or you start typing here and it doesn't pop up, go ahead and go to that people tile. It has the ARM directory and all active ARM account holders appear in that directory. So just search by last name and you'll be able to find that information, and it'll help you to enter it here. So one of the most important things about the shipping form though, and also one of the most complicated, so we'll go over this quite extensively, is the content section of the form. So there are a few ways to populate this information. You can manually type it in. So just type in everything that you need to on this row right here. But you can also pre-populate from the asset tool. And you can add from asset management in the asset tool itself. So I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. And then you can export to file. That'll just generate a packing list for you from everything that's listed here. And you can add attachments here. I always like to, every single time I'm starting a shipment, I like to open both tools at the same time on tabs right next to each other, just so I have a cross-reference. So I recommend opening both of these. And then first, before you start anything at all, going into shipping, creating a shipment, and figuring out if your origin and destination are already in the locations database. So let's just say, so here I am at PNNL, I'm in the AML building. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure, yep, that's in there for selection. And I'm sending something to, let's say, droplet measurement for repair. Luckily, those are in there. But if you were searching for something and it didn't pop up, then you would just go down here to contact us, and then you would request that that be added. I just added a new Vaisola shipping center just the other day, so things pop up all the time, new service centers, we need to update contacts, things like that. So don't hesitate to reach out. The locations database feeds both the shipping form and the asset tool. So even if you were able to just get through the shipping form by putting something else in here, the asset tool would still need that location to be added. So don't hesitate to do that. And then the next thing that I did want to mention here, when you are shipping things, that's an ideal time to add an audit entry to an asset record. So if you're in the asset tool and you select an asset, so let's see, let's just go ahead and use our good old gizmos. I'll apply a search here. Okay, so I'm just gonna, I have this in my hand, right? I have this gizmo right here, and I'm about to send it out. And so I can add an audit right here, verifying that I saw that thing and the place that I saw it and the date that I saw it. So all of your names should be in here for selection. And I'm just gonna say I'm at PNNL AML, and I just saw this thing, and I'm gonna save it. And it adds this audit entry here. This is a tremendous help in our annual inventory audit for anything that has a property tag. Even untagged things, it's great if you can add in an audit entry, but we really prioritize things with a property tag here. If you've seen it anytime between the end of the last wall-to-wall inventory audit and the next one, it counts as a location entry for property. And so we don't have to send someone back out to find that thing if we can see an audit entry within the last year since the last inventory. So this is a great thing to do while you're shipping something. You can do multiple of these. So if you were to see all 5 of these things at the same time, you can select them here, and you can go modify selected and add new audit here. So it'll pull up today's date. Once again, I'll search by my last name this time. I'm gonna just, actually, these are at SGP. So just for the sake of accuracy here, we'll go ahead and say I'm out at SGP. And then, or let's just say verified assets. In this case, it's going to require a comment. If you did on the individual asset record, it won't require a comment. And then you submit that. And then if you were to drill into one of these records, you would be able to see my audit entry right here. So shipping and receiving is an absolutely great time to make those audit entries. One thing to note here, if you're using this modify selected feature here to make a lot of entries on records at one time, it's really important to clear your selections once you're done with making your entry. If you don't do that, there's a chance that those would still be selected in a background if you navigate to a different page, and you could inadvertently make an update that impacts more records than you were intending to. So, okay, let's go ahead and clear this. And I'm going to show you how to move a collection. So let's go ahead. I have an ARMID in this case, so we'll just use that to search to make it quicker here. Okay, here's my Gizmo Collection 3. I'm going to double click it to open it. I'm going to look at the collection configuration, and I have 3 things that are currently in this collection. Okay, and so to move all of those things at once, I'm going to go ahead and move to location. And I'm going to say, okay, I'm shipping those off. It's today's date, and I'm going to ship them off to North Slope. But there we go. And I'm going to say for AFC 12345. I'm going to save it. Okay, so you can see that the collection itself is now in ship to site status on its way to North Slope, but also all of the assets that are assigned into that collection now have taken on that same entry and are in ship to site status as well. So if you were to drill out to one of these individual records, you would see the ship to site status there, that it's on its way to North Slope. And you would also see, importantly here, that it's installed into a parent collection. Okay, I'm just going to move this a second. There we go. Okay. So one thing I didn't kind of go over in depth yet, and I'm going to actually reset this as well while I'm here. It's important to note, one of the most important and critical things to remember when you're shipping things is to make that distinction between having an asset, an individual asset, or a collection. What I just showed you was a move on a collection, but of course it's important to be able to move individual assets as well. So let's go ahead and reset this. So one of the most important visible columns that you can leverage to see if things are in an individual asset status is visible columns and parent. So you can look for parent asset text, and I also like to use parent nickname as well. And that gives you both the number of the collection and the nickname of the collection. If you save those filters, you'll see that that populates on the right-hand side of your screen there. So let's go ahead and look for an individual asset. So I'm going to go ahead and expand here. And I have an RMID here of 26010. Okay, and I can see right here that it doesn't have a parent. So I'm going to go ahead and open the record. I can also see right here, there's no parent assigned. And so in that way, I can make sure that I'm moving an individual asset and not a part of a larger collection. So let's go ahead and move this. There's a tab here to move to location, and there's a tab up here to do that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and ship this off. And it's today's date. And like I said, you can make a catch-up entry here if you need to. And I'm going to ship this off to somewhere. Let's just say I'm going to send it off to ENA. Shipping for campaign, save that. And that's your individual asset, and it's now on its way to ENA, and that's what it's going to show. Okay, so let's see. I also wanted to show you, we already showed you unassigning an asset into ship to repair for repair. So let's go ahead, and a minute ago we looked at the gizmos and we added an audit entry to all of those at once. Let's go ahead and show how you would do a multiple move entry for all unassigned gizmos. So let's go ahead and pick these same ones because they're in the same location. So this makes it easy. So we're going to take these gizmos, and this is how you would go ahead and start a shipping form from the asset tool. So you go ahead and select the things that you're going to be shipping off. And you go to this actions and you open shipment for selected records. And that is going to pre-populate your content section of the shipping form here. So you have those things, the system has brought it over, so we know this information is correct, and we can go ahead and get rid of that placeholder line. And so you have your contents already pre-populated and ready to go. At that point, you can go here and you can put this modify selected, and you can say location. So we're going to choose where they're going to next. Let's just say they're coming back to PNNL. They're being shipped to site, and it's today's date. And we're going to just say shipping for excess. Submit that. And so those things are now in ship to site status. And back in our shipping form, we can go ahead and fill out the rest of the shipping form. So they're at SGP and they're going to PNNL. And go ahead and grab that and then just fill out the rest of the shipping form like I already showed you. So that's a great shortcut. If you have additional things to add to the shipping form, you could do that by just adding another line. I think I already, oh no, it's right here. So in your contents, you can add from asset management here. So let's see if I have something that is, let's just say, search for this asset. Oh, actually that one's not. I think there's one in US 110 might be in available status. There we go. So one thing to note about using the add asset from the asset tool option here in the shipping form is it will only show you things that are in available status. So if something is already in ship to site status, or if it's not available, reserved for something, or if it's not available other, it's not going to show up for selection here. But if you do have something that's available in the asset tool, you can look for it here and then add it to the shipment that way and then say done. Okay, so let's see, what else did I want to show you there? So anyway, that's kind of making use of both of your filtering option in the asset tool and then some of those shortcuts that are in the asset tool that will allow you to do a lot of things at once. Like I said, though, it's really important to keep track of what you have in modified selected status. So if you have things that are selected here and they show up as gray lines, but you navigate to another page, you aren't going to see those grayed out lines anymore. And so to clear those out of this function here, you need to clear selections. And then there's no danger that you're going to make an entry on them that you didn't intend to. Okay, so let's see here. One way that you can easily, I should go over receiving entries as well. So when you receive something, it's just taking that backwards action from sending something out. And so you do that the same way, as in you find the asset in the asset tool and you make that move to location entry on it. So you would just open it up here and you would make that same entry here. Just backwards. So if you have it there and it's come to you and you want to just put it aside for now, you would say available reserved and today's date or whenever you received it, and you can say, oh, now it's at PNL. And I'm just going to say received, reserved for excess. And then I can save that. I'm not going to do it in this case because I actually can't remember if this was one of the records that I just moved. But anyway, this is how you do it. But a shortcut, if you wanted to use it, is to go to the shipped assets report. So this is a report of everything that's currently in shipped status. And you can make the page bigger, go up to 100 things, and you can add another filter here. So let's just add a filter that says location contains PNNL. Okay, and here are my 4 gizmos that I just sent to myself. So if you wanted to make a receiving entry that you could do all at one time, you would just go ahead and select all 4 of those things, do a modify selected, say location, and you're going to confirm this is the location where they currently are. And I'm going to go ahead and say available reserved because I want to put them on reserve. The only thing to note here is that you want to make sure, because I made this shipping entry outbound at midnight, 12 a.m. this morning, I want to make sure that I make my receiving entry later than that date so that this is going to show up correctly in the history. So I'm going to go ahead and say that it arrived here at 10 a.m. in the morning. And save that. And submit it. And now those things are going to disappear from the shipping report because they're no longer in ship to site status. And so I'm going to go ahead and clear them out here. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and clear these and reset them. And if I go here again, and add a filter and say location, and apply my search, and those are going to show up now at PNNL in available reserve. So I can sort this column, and it's going to bring all 4 of them to the top here. So that is a way to make entries like kind of all at once for both shipping and receiving.